How are you today? David Klein Lovett, davidkleinlovett.com. Tools Made Easy, and an incredible, great book on comedy. Comedy Made Easy, with 123 joke templates, which will make even you funnier than you've ever been, with the ability to make people laugh, make people happy, so you can have more money, more honey, and more health in your life. So you can just spread joy so the world can be a better place. Today we're talking about basic structure. Just like a foundation for a building or a bridge, we need basic structure. So what is the basic structure for a joke? The most important thing is to be understood. If the audience doesn't understand what you're saying, there cannot be any funny. So the first thing is to be understood. When you're understood, there's understanding, there can be funny. The next important ingredient is passion. Just like anything in life. When you're passionate, that's where things happen. And what a joke is, it's really the collision of two stories. Story A and story B. Story A is going down Main Street, where story B makes a surprising left turn down Elm. That's where the funny comes into. And the more passion there is, the more surprise there is, the more emotion there is, the bigger the emotional release, the more the funny. So the first thing is, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to joke about? Pick your topic. What upsets you? What makes you mad? What are you passionate about? That's why so many people have jokes about in-laws. They're passionate about their in-laws. They don't like them. So what is it? Is it politics? Is it sports? Religion? Relationships? Doing the laundry? Pick your topic. And now the next part is the most important and the most overlooked or ignored, because it has to do with homework. And who wants to do homework? Nobody wants to do homework, right? And what you do is you create an association list. A list of items and things about your topic. For instance, if your topic is traffic tickets, get a piece of paper, write down everything that is associated with traffic tickets. Police officers, motorcycles, being pulled over, the ticket itself, going to court, having fines. Write down everything that you can associate with your topic. Make it as thorough as possible. Because then when you write jokes and you have those two different stories, you're going to have things to pull from. So by all means, do your homework. I have to tell myself this. Do your homework. Write everything that is associated with it. Court. Everything. The types of tickets. There's jaywalking tickets. There's speeding tickets. There's not having a blinker tickets. All of those different things. Then you want to have an attitude. We talked about emotion. So the best attitudes you can have are hate or love, confusion, being superior than, pain, fear, or what's scary, what's weird, strange. The 7 sins are great. Greed, sloth, pride, gluttony, anger, and lust, and envy. Targets. Just a little bit about targets. You don't want to go after somebody smaller, somebody different than yourself. In other words, it wouldn't be politically correct for me to talk about a black female jokes. It just isn't right. So I would stick with short, white, losers. So there's no confusion there. There's no unpoliticalness. Now you can, the rule is don't go down. In other words, don't talk about, someone that is lower than you. It just isn't respectful. And you don't have to go there. But you can aim up. So the number one target would be yourself. The next target would be up. So you can talk about the government. You can talk about the owners of the Lakers, for instance. You can talk about the president, unfortunately for him. Because they have a higher place. Your boss is good. So be careful on where your targets are. Now we've already talked about the setup or the first story. It needs to be understandable, it needs to be clear. That's not where the clever is. Just make it understandable and clear where you are going with your first story or the setup. The most classic joke and the cleanest is the old Henny Youngman joke, take my wife. So everyone knows, take my wife. 3 words, concise, and we think we're going somewhere, so we're assuming. So you want that first story, everyone to assume that's where you're going. Like I say, when you're going down Main Street, take my wife. So in our mind, we're thinking, okay, we're taking her for example, for something that she does or doesn't do. And then his punchline is, please. That's the second story. Please take her, take her away. I say the joke often, I found a woman to make a commitment with me. First story. Assuming it's a commitment for a relationship. And then my punchline is, she committed never to see me again. The second story. So it's the clashes of 2 stories. Another basic formula for your structure is exaggeration. Don't need to exaggerate the first story, the setup, but exaggerate the second story. If I got 3 traffic tickets, make it 16. If I gain 5 pounds, make it 55 pounds. It just makes it funnier. So exaggerate. It's okay. Exaggerate. For the art of comedy, make it bigger. My mother-in-law yelled at me for 5 minutes, make it, 35 minutes. Now another basic structure is very important, is have your punchline at the end. Your punch, your second story, the very last thing you say. Because people are going to be laughing. And they're not going to hear what you're saying. It's not going to be understandable if they're laughing when you're still talking. So the very last thing, take my wife, please. It doesn't work if it's please take my wife. So the very last thing you say is that punchline. And when you say it last, they'll have a blast. I'll repeat that. When you say it last, they'll have a blast. Again, you want the surprise. If there's no surprise, your humor dies. If there's no surprise, your humor dies. So you want that surprise. And this is the basic structure of having for humor. You want to pick your topic. You want to do your homework. Make an association list. Have an attitude or a persona. Like Rodney Dangerfield. I don't get any respect. So you have a bit of a persona. I really hate this. Or I really love it. And then talk about it sarcastically. I love Rush Limbaugh. He makes me realize what a great person I am. Make it with an attitude and your persona. Take that with you. I hate it. I love it. This is weird. This is strange. I don't understand this. So use that. Have your first story clash with your second story. Make it understandable. Exaggerate. Exaggerate. Make it bigger. Put your punchline at the very, very, very end. and make sure there's a surprise. And when you do that, your comedy will be made easy. And when you have 123 joke templates, you can't go wrong. Comedy Made Easy, davidkleinloveit.com. Until next time, keep 'em laughing and keep smiling.